We got a pile of oak. We're gonna make it small. Here we go. Today's a beautiful day in the wood yard, and I have oak right back here. This is all white oak in this pile. Now there's some logs in here that need to be cut down, and the reason we're gonna cut them down with the chainsaw, not the processor, is there's one that's a banana, which means it's got an arch, just like it's like the golden arches shape. This one, and then this one here has got a whole bunch of crotches on it. And there's one in back there that's got a bunch of crotches on it. It's not gonna be good for the processor, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get a chainsaw. I think I'm gonna take the big boy out. I think we're gonna get the 592 out, gas it up, get my protective gear on. We're gonna cut these logs up, but I think we're gonna use the tractor with the grapple. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them over by the splitter, cut them up right there, so I don't have to move them again. And then the rest of this, I'm gonna put the grapple on, take these big chunks and move them over. I'll show you where we're gonna go. So we got this log here, this one here, you can see there's a crotch there, the crotch there, there's the banana, that's the golden arches up there. And then over here, you can see this one's got a crotch here and it's got a crotch there. There's some big pieces like this here. There's some real big monsters in here. Here's it, look at this here. You got a center, a center, a center, and a center. That's gonna be nasty to split. And we got some big ones in there. And all of this is white oak. There might be a couple other pieces in there of some red or some ash, but I'm gonna grab it with the grapple. I'm gonna bring it over here to the splitter. And I'm gonna have it right here in the grapple, cut it up right here, and that way I don't have to move it. And then those big chunks that are over there, I will scoop those up with the grapple, bring them over here, and then we're gonna fire up the 17 VS Wolfridge splitter, the vertical, and we're gonna make small pieces. So that's what's on the agenda for today. It's time to get busy. Remove some wood. All right, I got my suit of armor on and I got some logs over here. We're gonna cut them up. I got the 592 out. I just gassed it up. It's sharp, so it should cut good. We're gonna cut up all this white oak and then do some splitting. So it's time to get cutting. Look at that. Rounds, oak. I cut all the stuff up I could find that was up there. And then I came over here and I cut these big boys up. And I ripped them because even when they're cut, to get them on the log lift is hard because they're just so heavy. So I got them to this size. Now I can pick them up with the tractor and just set them over there. I can much easier get them on the table because anything that's like that size, it's over 30 inches, it's hard to even get up on the log lift. So I kind of cut them down here a little bit, as you can see. So the piles are going down slowly, and hopefully in the next week or so I can get all this white oak split. I can get all the beech split up, and then I can get on that other tree service stuff that's out there, the little stuff, get that all cut up. Then I get that other tree service stuff cut up, and then we can clean this whole area up. And I can make it look less like I took a dump out here. I don't want that. We want to get it clean because it's bad. It's messy here. Plus we got so much sawdust on here that the ground underneath probably is all wet. So get it cleaned up and it'll look pretty again someday, and then we can make another mess. I was gonna do some splitting with that. Is not happening. I have enough for one day. That was 3 tanks I cut up. I'm going home. That's all I got. See you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Good night, Irene.